morning, Instagram. Good morning, LinkedIn, as well as Doing Life Well with Regina on my YouTube channel. Welcome, everyone, to the Coach's Cafe on what I term as Figured Out Friday, where you no longer have to figure it out alone. Y'all, if you missed my lifestyle health nutrition workshop last night, you truly missed a treat. And when I tell you, those individuals that pulled up last night had a very good time. It was very interactive. So if you missed it, you have an opportunity to still be involved with making a difference in your health, because I'm going to talk about that as we go along. But welcome this morning. Drop in the comments where you're coming from, where you're pulling up from. It's Figured Out Friday, and as you know, I always invite you to stay on your health alert. So make sure if you don't have your water, go ahead on and grab your water before we get into this conversation. Today, welcome over here. Today, so we've been doing a health challenge this month for the month of July. I've been doing a weighted vest or 10,000 steps or 1 mile walk. If you can't do 1 mile, I just invite you to do, 1 minute. But the whole goal is to stay active in your health throughout the year. And a lot of times around mid-year, we've gotten off track. So, it doesn't benefit you to beat yourself up for what you haven't done or the fact that you have fallen off. That's not helpful at all. So I want to encourage you, wherever you are, if you have not started or restarted things that you said you would do at the start of the year, now is a good time. Today is a good time. Don't put off for tomorrow what you can actually do today. Welcome to the Coach's Cafe on this Figure It Out Friday. Today, our conversation, and if you're taking notes, today our conversation is audit your ecosystems. Audit your ecosystems. And so I want to just say, I've just been really thinking about this week. A lot of times we have this idea that our health is in a box or a bubble, and the bubble centers around basically what we eat and whether or not we move. But I want to invite you into a space where we think about other things that could be obstacles in our health. So it's not just about you not trying hard or you not trying hard enough. And if you need to get back on track, what does that look like for you? What if you're trying to grow, meaning improve your health, in an environment that's now working against you? So this morning, I want us to explore a different question, because it's not that you don't have the effort, not that you don't have a desire, not that you don't have the willpower. The question I want you to type in the comments is your environment supporting you or silently sabotaging you? That is our question for today, because when we think about recovering the recoverable, it starts with one decision each day, one decision each opportunity that you have a decision. And so if your ecosystem is not supporting you, yet creating an environment that's sabotaging your efforts, I want us to really lean into that. So that's the question for today. Type that in the comments if you're with me. Welcome, Veronica. Welcome, Doris. Welcome, Jay. Thank you all for joining in the Coach's Cafe over here on LinkedIn. Thank you for joining, and on YouTube. Thank you all for joining. Our question for today is your environment supporting your health or silently sabotaging it? Make sure you share this out and then drop in the comments where you are pulling up from in this world, whether it's Mississippi, Louisiana. Let me know where you're pulling up from. So As I was preparing this week, I realized every meaningful change that I've made in my own life happened when I changed my habits, not just my mindset, but when I changed my habits, when I changed my environment, when I changed what I kept in my kitchen, because you all know, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to not get into my environment audit just yet, but when I changed what I kept in my kitchen, when I changed how I decided to protect my peace, I changed who allowed, when I say ecosystems, who influenced me, what influenced me. And so, what ultimately happened, I changed the daily rhythms of my life. That's how ecosystems are changed. That's how you are able to really recover the recoverable. And that does not happen in isolation, it happens in community. That's the language that we use, and it happens in ecosystems. So, on this Figured Out Friday, let's figure this thing out together. What exactly is an ecosystem? I used that term last year, and I did a series, and someone was like, they didn't say that during the live, but they asked afterwards, what is an ecosystem? And it is your environment. Your ecosystem is your food environment, it's your physical environment, your social environment, your work environment, your emotional environment, your spiritual environment. So your ecosystem consists of all the inputs that have access to you. And so today I want us to have a conversation about these ecosystems and what does it have to do with your blood pressure, your stress, your weight, your relationships, and ultimately your life. Because here's the deal, we cannot flourish in environments that's feeding us the very thing that we're trying to overcome. Welcome, Dennis. Thank you for joining in the Coaches Cafe. Today, we are talking about audit your ecosystems. And I want to start number one. Number one, type this in the comments. Type this in the comments. Our first system that I want us to take a look at is our food environment. So when I talk about ecosystems, and the fact that your ecosystem impacts your blood pressure, your ecosystem impacts your level of stress, your ecosystem impacts your spiritual life, your ecosystem impacts your overall well-being, your overall life, the quality of your life. Because if you have a compromised ecosystem, you're going to have a compromised way of living. Let's start with number one. The first ecosystem I want us to address this morning, and type this in the comments if you're with me, your food environment. When I'm talking about, I'm making reference to your food environment, I'm speaking about, I address from an integrative health standpoint, because our life is not lived in isolation. Understand that your life, your well-being, the quality of your health is not lived in isolation. So we're going to start with one ecosystem but we're going to cover five. So we're going to start with your food environment. We want to have the best health. And when I think about me having the best health, then what am I bringing in my house? If you have children in your home, what are you bringing in your home that supports their growth? Because children do not go out and buy stuff. When we're talking about the rate of junior diabetes, the fact that teenagers or even 9-year-olds now have high blood pressure, that's not a genetic They were not born with a heart condition, but as a result of years of what we've been providing, that's a hard conversation that we're going to have on this Figured Out Friday. And that is auditing your kitchen, auditing your food environment. It's one of the things I talked about last night in my lifestyle nutrition workshop with those ladies. That is, if we want to have changes in our health, if we want to have changes in our overall well-being, then it starts in our kitchen. And so a lot of times, a lot of times we don't think about our seasonings. So this weekend, I want you to do an honest audit of your kitchen. Your food impacts your mood. Just in case you did not know, you don't just have a bad attitude, but your food impacts your mood. Either it makes you sometimes feel better, sometimes it makes you feel worse. But when you think about your food environment, what is in your kitchen? So let me ask you, if you're comfortable typing in your chat, do you have a lot of processed foods in your kitchen? Say in your refrigerator, do you have ultra processed deli meat? If you have a lot of ultra processed deli meat, or if you have hot dogs, we had a conversation about that in my lifestyle nutrition workshop last night. In case you did not know, processed foods, particularly like wieners and hot dogs, they are a type 1 carcinogen. And what that basically means is there is a direct link with hot dogs to cancer. I want you to know that. And so as I'm teaching some nutrition education in the upcoming weeks, I will be informing you and educating you so that you can make better decisions. So when you think about your food environment, I want you to spend some time checking out that kitchen. If you have stuff that's been in your cabinet for 6 months, it's time to just throw it away. Don't give it to anybody, throw it away. I want you to audit your food environment, which includes your deep freezer, if you have one. If you have food that you've been saving, if you've not eaten it in 2 months, throw it out. Check your salad dressings that's in your refrigerator. How old are those? What do they consist of? Do they have cholesterol? Are they high in sodium? These are the things when we're talking about improving our health outcomes, we've got to begin to pay attention to everything. Don't assume just because it says all natural that it's all good, because it just may not. If you're battling with high cholesterol, you want to make sure that you're reading your ingredients on the back. If you have high blood pressure, you want to make sure that you're reading and checking, does this have a lot of sodium in it? So when you go and check your pantry, if your beans or if your canned goods have a lot of sodium in them, one thing, make sure that you become conscious that I'm not going to buy high sodium items anymore. What I'm going to do is buy low sodium items or buy fresh items if you can, but you can still buy canned goods, but spend a lot of time rinsing that stuff off because we don't want to be wasteful. Groceries are high. So I want you to audit your kitchen. I want you to do a serious audit. Take some time, drop in the comments that I will audit my kitchen environment, because that is a major ecosystem when it comes to improving your health outcomes. That we take a good look, and I'm inviting you to do that this weekend. Number 2, your actual physical environment. Your physical environment is an ecosystem that actually impacts your well-being. If you are home and you have a lot of clutter in your home, sometimes you can't think straight. In your work environment, if you are in a high stress environment and you have not created the conditions in your immediate environment, say like having a oil diffuser in your office, having inspirational quotes in your space. If you are in a potentially high stress environment, that's an ecosystem that impacts your well-being. Before you have a conversation with people, assess your environment, your physical environment. What is it going to take for you to be able to think clearly so that you're not making knee jerk reactions, or that you're not saying things before you want to say them just based on your environment? These things truly impact how we show up in our space. Your work environment, people that work, your work environment, you're at work 8 to 12 hours a day. And if you don't audit your physical environment, one of the things that one of the young ladies said last night in my lifestyle nutrition workshop was that she's trying to work on her health. And so, but one of the things that is a challenge for her is the fact that at work on a regular basis, they pull up, they have all these snacks. They have donuts, they have pastries. And so she find herself, guess what? Partaking in those donuts and pastries. So I want to invite you, if you're having, good morning, Queen. Thank you for joining. We're talking about auditing your ecosystems. And I'm going to talk about 5 ecosystems that I want you to audit. We started with your food environment, which is your kitchen. Number 2, we're talking about your physical environment, whether it's your home environment or your work environment. And so last night, I was just sharing last night in my lifestyle nutrition workshop, the young lady shared that her challenge is at work, like her physical environment at work. Every day she goes to work, there's food there. She's on a health journey, but there's food there. And it's not the food that lines up with where she wants to go. So she had support in that space to talk through, hey, they're going to have food there. Just take your own. You can still be in company with your coworkers, but take your own. That was another challenge that a young lady shared, that as she's on her health journey, being responsible for the household and everybody in the household does not eat the way that she eats. Or when you're at family gatherings and in that physical environment, you may not necessarily be in control of what the caterer or what they have there. When you're talking about your food, when you're talking about, I'm on this journey, I'm on this way that I'm trying to change the way that I eat so that I can have better life outcomes, so that I can improve my markers. The young lady said, it is just hard. And I did share with the group that when I go places, matter of fact, I shared with the group last night that I went to a funeral a couple of weeks ago. Well, maybe it's been about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months. But I actually took my own food to the repast, because we know historically, I can't speak for everybody, but historically and generally, what type of food is at repasts? Not health producing food. Not health producing food. Even if, and I'm leaning in, even if the person, our loved one, had a heart attack, they had a stroke, and it was as a result of their nutrition, what they were eating over years. We at the family function with macaroni and cheese. Y'all know what I'm about to say. Macaroni and cheese, that dairy is what? Loaded in saturated fat. So what did I do? What did we do? We took our own food to make sure that we would be in good company, that we can sit down and that we can eat. I had tofu in my purse. I didn't feel no kind of way about it, because what I'm actually aggressively working on is my own health. What I shared last night as well in my lifestyle nutrition workshop is that oftentimes we go after high accolades, high status, and everything else except becoming the CEO of our health. You cannot beat us showing up at work early to make sure that we have our day planned out. You cannot beat us scheduling meetings, planning meetings, KPI meetings, key performance indicator meetings, so that me and my team can produce the best. You cannot beat us when we're back in school, making sure that we complete that next degree, we complete that next certification, Or if we're in a civic organization, you cannot beat us making sure every event that we pull up in the community is the absolute best event. We're going to make a difference in the community because that's who we are. But when it comes to your health, we have put it on the back burner. We're going to rip and run for and I get it. Children have places that they have to go. But when your kiddo is at baseball practice, at softball practice, is at football practice, is at the track meet, do you have to sit there and watch the entire practice? Can you yourself start walking around the parking lot? I'm just trying to help us to think, because our physical environment, we go hard to create conditions for everybody else to succeed except us. We're too tired and we give us the leftovers. And so you're too tired to do your 15-minute walk. You're too tired to spend 2 minutes meditating, bringing yourself down from the day. So when I say think about your physical environment, create the conditions that would help you become the CEO of your health. You're the CEO for entrepreneurs. You cannot beat an entrepreneur from staying up late to make sure that everything is in order, that you're responding to your consumers, your clients. You cannot beat an entrepreneur, planning and I'm in planning season and I got to make sure that, my customers are taking, and I get that. I'm an entrepreneur. I understand that. But I also made a conscious decision to become the CEO of my health, to become the CEO of my life. And that starts with me auditing my ecosystems. Type that in the comments. Number 2, I need you to audit your physical environment. Number 1, audit your kitchen. If you got high blood pressure, take out everything that has sodium in it. Let me just help you out right quick. If you got high cholesterol, I'm going to give you a freebie on a Friday. Cholesterol is only found in animal products. Go figure how you can narrate that. If you have high cholesterol, go figure. It's only found in animal products. That's a freebie on a Friday. Number 3, and if you ain't picking up what I'm putting down, if you have high cholesterol is only found in animal products. If you want to lower your cholesterol, get rid of the animal products, at least for a season. How about that? If not forever, at least for a season, until you get your numbers back in order. Because you're prioritizing everything else. You're doing everything for everybody else. Number 3, this is a big one. When we're talking about auditing our ecosystems, audit your social environment. Who are the people in your life that's having the greatest influence on you? I'm going to refer again back to my nutrition education workshop last night. A lot of comments were around, everybody around me is not doing this. And so it had me thinking, and I understand that when I first started transitioning in regards to my health, I was called so many different names. Like, it was unbelievable. I could not believe that people would not get on board with me deciding, when my doctor told me that I was borderline high cholesterol, then I didn't understand why people had issues or were saying that it don't take all that. Well, I now have information that I need to make a decision around. So sometimes that decision means I may not be able to be around you for a while. If I don't pull up at the gathering, it's not because I don't want to be around the people. Maybe I'm looking out for the best interest of my health right now. And what that looks like is, if it's not an environment that is going to positively pour into me, then it could be silently sabotaging my efforts. It could be silently sabotaging your efforts. So when you think about your social environment, and and you've heard it, you are the sum total of the top 5 people that you spend the most time with. If you spend the most time in an environment where it's toxic, you begin to take on a toxic narrative yourself, what we call a Debbie Downer, always complaining. You begin to take that on. Sometimes when we're talking about auditing number 3, your social environment, the people that you spend the most time with, maybe you need to unplug from a while from all people and spend some time with yourself. That's some language that's out there now. I need to, you need to sit with yourself. I want you to practice sitting with yourself without your cell phone, without your devices, without the TV, without people, at least once a week for about at least an hour. Can you give yourself an hour a week? Start with an hour a week, and you can chunk that up in 15 minutes across several days. But I want you to unplug away from people because, again, your social environment. Example, you're going out, you're on your journey, your goal is better health. And I'm telling you, the number of DMs I get from both men and women in regards to being struggling in a struggling place with their health every day. I get DMs every day about people struggling in their health and saying, I don't have the support that I need. And so I'm really thinking about that thing. How can I be a better support off these socials? But your social environment, the people that you're spending time with in your home and outside your home, some of it you have control over, some of it you don't. It is hard when you don't have the support. I know this. I recognize this. I have worked with many clients when I was doing one-on-one coaching. Mind you, I don't do one-on-one coaching anymore. It has to be executive level, but I do cohort coaching. And since I'm going to take a commercial break right here, if you are ready to stop these struggles by yourself on your struggle bus and ready to start to create an environment that supports your health, I would love for you to join me in my upcoming 5-week lifestyle intervention series, Recovering the Recoverable. The cohort starts August the 6th, where you get community for 5 weeks, developing these relationships, developing these new habits, okay? So if you're ready to do that, I need you to enroll in my upcoming cohort. But coming back to this conversation about your social environment, if you don't have the support that you need, it is a struggle. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful. One of the reasons why I put the July challenge out there is so that I can stay accountable. If you're not a part of the July challenge, we're either doing a weighted vest, you can do 10,000 steps or 1 mile a day to stay active, and tag me when you do it. And so every day I'm held accountable because that's integrity. So I'm using my ecosystem, my broadband ecosystem, to keep me accountable. So I'm posting every day for 31 days, my numbers, my videos that, hey, I'm out here getting it in. And so I'm going to say it one more time. I have an amazing spouse who stays up late with me sometimes to make sure I get it in. Everybody don't have that. I'm thinking about creating an environment off the socials. And if you would be interested in joining my environment off the socials on Substack, drop it in the comments. Let me know. Because if it's not what the people really want in a different environment, I don't want to do it. Because I have plenty to do. Your social environment has a very big impact on whether or not you stay on your health journey. People gonna pull up with all the things, your favorite thing. I'm gonna tell y'all. I'm in a much better place today. I'm in a much better place today. But as I was transitioning in terms of cleaning up my nutrition, when I would go to my mom's house, she would make things that I really love. And I would still like want to eat it and pinch out it. And I finally got to a point where I was strong enough to say I can't eat that. And strong enough to a point where I started making groceries and taking them to my mama's house. And so that's how I began to shift my social environment. I know that I'm going to my mama's house. And so now I have my overnight oats there. I have my protein powder there. I have my oat milk there. I have things that will support me in that space. Put this in the comments, the 5 P's. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. When it comes to your social environment, you become responsible for taking the things into that environment. You become responsible for taking things into that environment. If the environment is not going to have what you need, then you got to take it. That's becoming the CEO of your health. That's becoming the CEO of your life. Do not leave it up to chance. Do not leave it up. If you're going to the family reunion this summer, don't leave it up to them. You're like, I done paid my money and they don't have nothing that I eat. You know that. Take what you need to be successful. Take what you need. Type that in the comments. I'm taking what I need to be successful. When you look at your social environment, if your social environment is not supporting you, one, I want you to pause and take some time and spend with yourself. And then 2, you have to announce and let people know. It's no secret. If people don't know that you're making changes, they're going to keep offering you things. And I'm going to say this. If you announce and share, I'm making changes, I don't want to eat that, and they still offer you that, then that becomes a decision for you. Do I still want to be around them right now? If they're going to continue to attempt to compromise where I'm going. Both things can be true. I can love you and not be around you. I can love you. It's not that I'm upset with you, but I'm focused right now. My girl, Javina Clark, I've been looking at her Instagram, and what she's been saying every day is locked in. So I need you to lock in on your life. This is not a temporary situation. I need you to lock in. Type in the comments, I'm locked in. If you're still with me, type in there, I'm locked in. If you fell off the track, today is the day that I'm locked in. I'm taking what I need to be successful. I'm not waiting on it to happen. I'm not expecting you and then get mad at you because this is your function and you don't have nothing that I can eat. I knew I was coming. I knew I was going to work. I knew it was Friday. I know on Friday they bring donuts, but I'm upset because y'all don't have anything for me. I am taking responsibility so I can be successful. So that's number 3. I want you to audit your social environments. I want you to audit your social environments. Spend time with yourself, at least 1 hour this week. And then number 4, we put a lot in us. I want you to really slow down, spend some time with yourself so that you can evaluate your emotional environment. What we find is that we're always around other people and we're taking on all the things that they got going on because they stay on the struggle bus. It begins to impact your emotions, your responses. You find yourself getting down because the 15 people around you are down. But in your household, really everything is all good. But you bringing all of that. So I want you to pause and evaluate, spend some time. I'm going to invite you to journal. I don't journal. We ain't gonna call it a journal then. Write down your thoughts. Write down your emotions so that you can begin to pay attention to how you're feeling in your body Don't run away from it. You don't even know how you feel in your body because you've been taking on everybody else's stuff. Hey, good morning. Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining. Evaluate the emotional. Yes. Yes. All too often. I did a post last month. I was in Jackson at the Trails of Lacking Acres. I have been having conversations with people who are in relationships and they are just, having struggles. And that's not the only narrative in relationships, whether it's a friend relationship, a church relationship, a marital relationship, a partnership, whatever. Everybody is not on the struggle bus. And so, as I was listening, I had to announce to the world that healthy relationships, healthy emotions are possible, and everybody is not going through. So, what you have going on you, you cannot put on me. I don't own your perspective. I don't own your emotions. I'm not taking that on. And so when we don't pause and spend time with ourselves, we take on everybody else's stuff and then we start to respond out of everybody else's stuff. When was the last time you paused and really spent time with yourself, evaluating your emotions, getting in touch with your emotions? Because your emotions, your emotional state is an ecosystem. If all you're taking in all the time is all the things from all the people, it's going to impact your well-being. So that's number 4. Number 1 was, and today we're talking about auditing your ecosystems. And your ecosystems include, number 1, your kitchen, your food, making sure if you hadn't touched it in 6 months, throw it out. Don't take it to the food pantry. You don't even want it. If you're struggling in your health, if you have high blood pressure, look and see if you got sodium in your seasonings. Get rid of it, period. Now, if you want to go deeper, I'm inviting you to join my August cohort, Recovering the Recoverable, a 5-week lifestyle intervention series. But today I want to drop you these 5 systems that you need to audit to shift your health, to shift the quality of your life, because the quality of your life does not change just by what you eat. It changed by, yes, what's in your kitchen, but also number 2, your physical environment. In your work environment, do you have a Zen space? What's up, Chauncey? What's up? Good morning. Do you have a Zen space in your work environment? What is a Zen space, Regina? Well, a couple of years ago, I submitted a proposal to an organization. And if you are a decision maker in your organization, I submitted a proposal to create a Zen den. There are some schools, there are some organizations that actually have what you call Zen dens. And these are spaces that have, soft music. You can have a little lavender lounge. You can have your diffusers in that space. But if your organization can't go that big, in your own workspace, you create the environment that is going to be conducive for your well-being. You create that. So get you a little diffuser. Get your positive affirmations. Set your environment. And then number 3, we talked about your social environment. If you're not influencing those around you, they are influencing you. If you're not influencing those around you, then they are influencing you. So number 3, the third environment that we talked about evaluating and auditing is your social environment. If every time you're in the conversation, you're leading with the encouragement, you don't have anybody that's pouring back into you, you're going to be drained. And we often say you can't pour from an empty cup. And so everything that's in the cup belongs to you. If you're not filled and you have overflow in the saucer, technically you don't have nothing to give. So then I need you to evaluate, is my social support, is my social environment really the best environment in this season in my life right now? And it may or may not be. And so that's an environment I want you to audit over the next 48 hours. Over the next 48 hours, I want you to environment and I want you to evaluate your food environment. I want you to audit your physical environment, your social environment, your emotional environment. And then number 5, I want you to evaluate your spiritual environment. That's number 5. I want you to evaluate your spiritual environment. And so I'm going to just say this: God ain't welcome in everybody's space. And we wonder why we're in the conditions that we're in. So when I think about your spiritual environment, do you spend time in a space that's dedicated to being in tune, not always asking for something, because we get in the habit of asking, Lord, can you help me get out? And I done gave you 4 audits to help you get out before you even get to the Lord, you know. And so I want you to really take some time, because we don't talk about this enough. The impact of our spiritual relationship on our health. A lot of times when we find ourselves disconnected from the Lord, we find ourselves out of order in all the other areas of our life. When we are out of alignment with our relationship with the Lord, we find ourselves out of alignment with everything else. And I'll tell y'all, I found myself feeling disconnected. And so it was showing up in the environments. And I'm like, wait a minute, what is this? And so for about a week or so, the Lord was just pulling on me and tugging me and saying some decisions have to be made. Because when I was not spending that time with Him, then my mind was being crowded out with other voices. And so the invitation here is, it goes back to, I encourage you to spend 1 hour a week with yourself. And so that 1 hour a week with you is not the same thing as the time that I'm inviting you to spend with the Lord. It's not the same time. The Lord, in developing and cultivating your spiritual disciplines, is separate from the time I want you to start spending at least 1 hour a week unplugged from devices, unplugged from your TV. Because the thing about it, if we want to recover our health, it takes intentionality every day. It's not one big decision. It's on an everyday basis. Am I auditing my environment? When you go to work today, they're going to have them donuts. If you got a long day, you're going to want to drive through the drive-thru. I'm talking about myself now. I'm down to eating red beans and rice from Popeyes on the road, trying to make better decisions. It's not always easy. And I'm telling you all this. That's why these environments matter. So your lifestyle, your life can change. It can be different when we audit these systems. Here are the systems I want you to audit this weekend. Over the next 48 hours, here are the systems that I want you to evaluate. Your food environment. If you're still with me, drop in the comments. Are you going to audit your kitchen environment with your pantry? Are you going to audit your refrigerator? Or are you going to audit your deep freezer? If you got stuff in your deep freezer that's been there for 3 months, go ahead on and throw it out. I'm talking to myself now. Because sometimes when I juice, well, my husband is a much better juicer than I am. When we juice, we save the gut, and you can use that in a shake so you're not being wasteful. But I want you to evaluate and audit your food environment. Take some time this weekend, because you're not in a rush state, and be very intentional. Audit your physical environment, your home. Think about your work environment. So if you do not have a Zen space in your work environment, how can I create that space? How can I create that space? Because these environments shapes our outcomes. If your workspace is chaotic and stressful, it is going to impact you if you don't create the conditions for you to be able to respond in a different way. Number three, I talked about your social environment, because your relationships are a key part of your, ecosystem. Your relationships are a big part of your ecosystems. Even our thoughts, your emotions, what you're running through your head every day, that's a part of your health ecosystem. About your, as we bring this conversation to a close, which ecosystem is helping you have optimal health, and which ecosystem is secretly sabotaging your efforts? If you're still with me, is there one of those five ecosystems that's not supporting you right now? And then here is my challenge for you. When you evaluate, when you audit your ecosystems, I challenge you to change one thing in one ecosystem this weekend. Don't try to change all five, something in all five. I want you to think about one of those five ecosystems: your kitchen, your physical environment, your social environment, your emotional environment, and your spiritual environment, and make a decision. I'm going to change one thing in my ecosystem this weekend. Drop in the comments. Social is supporting me now. Good deal. Over here on YouTube, my social is supporting me now. My husband, excellent. Yes, I have a phenomenal husband who goes walking with me with that weighted vest on. So I so appreciate it. Last night I had a lifestyle health workshop, and we started out, I've been advertising it as a master class, but by spending time with the Lord and connecting more in that spiritual space, evaluating my spiritual environment, God spoke to me. He said, you don't have a master class. What you're doing, because the participants got to work, this is a lifestyle health workshop. And so we were able to workshop a number of things in that session last night. And so in order for us to recover the recoverable, I believe 100%, if you're struggling in your health, if you audit these five environments, take action on one this weekend, you begin to recover the recoverable. Recovering the recoverable, type in the comments, starts with one better decision today. Thank you over here on YouTube. This was great. Thank you so much. I want to make it practical. I don't want to make it pie in the sky. I want to make this practical. Thank you so much for pulling up and sharing that. And make sure y'all share this, and also that you comment and engage throughout the week. So in order for us to recover our health, because one thing we're going to do, we're going to be excellent in our workspace. We're going to be excellent taking care of our children. One thing that I know, your children, if you have children or your grandchildren, one of the things that we pride ourselves on is, I want my children in a better position than I was growing up. Is that your mindset or your philosophy? So both things can be true. Your children can have a very good life, and so can you. I want us to stop this mindset of, I got to compromise my life so that my child can have a better life. Because you're in a place where if you're not taking care of yourself, then what's going to happen if you check out? So I want both things can be true at the same time. I want us to begin to make one better decision every day. That's how we recover the recoverable. And so it does not happen in this big whop. It's one decision. And if you've ever seen that analogy about the rock and the water The water just keeps penetrating their rock, and eventually their rocks get a dent in if it just keeps penetrating over years. And so I just want to encourage you to take the time that's needed. You did not get into whatever shape or condition you're in overnight. But if you audit these five systems, your food environment, and make changes, your physical environment, and make changes, your social environment, and make changes, begin to sit with yourself, because you're an okay person. Stop letting people tell you you broke. You're not broken. You never were. You never were. And I'm going to say this is a freebie on a Friday. Thank you, Holy Spirit. We're in environments, in spaces that's designed to share and promote and encourage healing. But we often allow the mindset that we're broken. If by his stripes I am healed, then how can I show up in some space saying that I'm broken? I want y'all to sit with that. And so one final thought I have for you all. If you are in an environment that's not supporting you, or if you need additional support and help, I want to invite you to join me in my upcoming cohort, my 5-week series, Integrative Lifestyle Intervention, where we address your nutrition. We address nutrition education, meal planning and auditing. How do I audit my kitchen? How do I overcome setbacks? How do I engage in social environments? How do I create a sustainable plan? Those are some of the things that we work through in my cohort, Recovering the Recoverable. It's a 5-week intervention that starts August the 6th. Would love to work with you all off the socials. And I also mentioned I'm contemplating a space off the socials. And if you would be interested in being in a community off the socials, let me know, whether you message me by DM, because during the week you see me with my 90-second reels. That's just to highlight me wanting to give you something that can support you with encouragement. Fridays is what I call my long form content. I want to make sure that you're informed. How can I make better decisions? I don't want you just trying to grab things. I do a lot of research. And so I want to make sure the things that I provide are practical, faith-based, and practical. I pray that you will prosper and be in good health, even as your soul shall prosper. I'm talking about your whole health, right? So thank you all so much for pulling up with your coach, Coach Regina. In some spaces, I'm a coach. In some spaces, I'm a practitioner. But every day, I'm the plant-based boss. Why? Because I pull up to support people in understanding we can be well souls every day. Thank y'all for the comments that this has been great. My spiritual and social environment supports me. Thank you for sharing that. Everybody don't have those environments. And so if you have, I want to invite you all to check out my website, www. I've updated my website. I'm very excited about it. I would love for you to go over to my website. 1, check out my new updates. 2, see what I have going on. One thing that I want, if one thing that I have that's coming up is on July the 30th. Mark your calendars. And if you have not registered, make sure you register for my upcoming Food for Life class, The Power of the Plate. And so recently I became a licensed Food for Life instructor. I'm super excited about that. Well, I will be teaching plant-based nutrition and having live cooking demonstrations. Says, thank you so much. I'll walk while listening this morning. Thank you, Coach. Listen, y'all, I got over here on Facebook, Coach Takenya K. Johnson. On tomorrow, if you're in the Jackson or surrounding areas, make sure you pull up at Friendship Park about 10 minutes to 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Coach Takenya Kay, I'm about to call her former name, but Coach Takenya is having a gratitude walk from 7 to 8. And so when we talk about our physical environment, including our physical health, our social environment, our emotional environment, and our spiritual environment, those are 4 areas that are going to be impacted at the walk tomorrow. Because you're going to be able to engage socially, spiritually, because Coach Takenya going to pray us up and down before we even get started. And at the end, I know we're going to have some testimonies about this gratitude experience. So I'm going to be there. The plant-based boss is going to be there. Coach Takenya is going to be there. Matter of fact, I'm about to put Coach Takenya on the spot. She has an event that's coming up on August the 7th and the 8th. If you'll drop in the comments, Coach Takenya, your event that's coming up on the 7th and the 8th in Jackson, Mississippi. I know the 7th is a virtual event and the 8th is an in-person event. I don't know if you're still walking, but make sure you go and follow Coach Authoress Takenya K. Johnson. Again, she has a health walk, a gratitude walk tomorrow, July the 18th. When we're talking about our ecosystems, when we're talking about our environments, it's not one thing. It's, in this case, all the things. It is your food. It is what's in your kitchen. It is your physical environment. It is your social environment. It is your emotional environment as well as your spiritual environment. I want to say thank you all so much for pulling up on this Figure It Out Friday, where you no longer have to figure it out alone. It is your girl, the plant-based boss. Boss is becoming a well soul every day. And we do that by making a decision, one better decision today. Do not put off tomorrow what you can do today. That's how we recover the recoverable. Your health is recoverable and your relationships are recoverable. It's been my pleasure to be here with you all this morning. Make sure you share this out and make sure you comment. I want to know, when you audit your environments, your ecosystems this weekend, come back to this live replay and drop it in the comments. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Make sure you do one thing, make one decision today that is going to help you to recover the recoverable. Pull up in the morning if you're in the Jackson or the surrounding areas for Coach Takenya's gratitude walk from 7 to 8 at Friendship Park in Jackson, Mississippi. And make sure you head over to my website, www.reginalacking.com. Take a look at the updates and make sure you look at my services, look at what I have, the upcoming events that I have going on. I'll be putting that announcement up there because on Friday night, I'll be having a conversation with Coach Takenya. And on July the 30th, my Food for Life class. This is a free class that I will be doing a live cooking demonstration. If you're like, I don't know what to cook, I'm about to start helping y'all. So thank y'all so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Facebook, thank you all for pulling up as always. Thank you for your faithfulness. LinkedIn, YouTube, and Instagram over here. Thank you all so much for your faithfulness. If this has been helpful, all I ask is that you share it out. And if anything that I share across the week resonates with you, I do ask that you share it and make sure, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, Doing Life Well with Regina, that you subscribe to my YouTube channel because that's where my long form content is. Thank you so much. Thank you for all those that participated in our lifestyle health workshop last night. We'll host another one in a couple of months. But in the meantime, if you're ready to make some adjustments in your health, adjustments in your life, adjustments in your ecosystem, I would love to have you in my upcoming cohort. That will be a 5-week cohort in August, starting August the 6th. The Lifestyle Intervention Series. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. You know how to find me. DM me or just reach out. Head over to my website. Thank y'all so much and have a good weekend.